atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Repeat that after me. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yishem Adonai Mevarach. The Lord has given, the Lord has taken. Still, we bless and thank God for the time that we've shared. To connect us to 3,000 years of history.
It's not working.
It's working. Good. To connect us with 3,000 years of history, to connect Jack and his heritage, all he's taught us, we start traditionally with Psalms, words of David. The first psalm that I'm going to do is especially appropriate for this family because one of the prominent words of this psalm is Ezri. It's the 121st psalm. The root of that is Ozer. Ozer means help. Shir lamalot esainai el heharim me'ayin yavo Ezri esainai el heharim me'ayin yavo Ezri Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim v'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Ose shamayim v'aretz Yitain lamot raglecha al yadum yishmerecha Ein lo yanum v'lo yishan shomer Yisrael Adonai shomerecha Adonai tzelcha Al yad yaminecha Yamam v'hashemesh Lo yikeka v'yarech balayla Adonai yishmorecha mikol ra Yishmoret nafshecha Adonai Yishmor tzedcha v'lecha me'atah yad olam I will lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source, the Ozer, of my help? The source of my help is the Lord, creator of heaven and earth. He will not let you falter. Your guardian does not slumber. Surely the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. He is at your right hand to protect you, the Lord your keeper. He gives shelter. The sun will not smite you by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord will guard you from harm. The Lord will preserve your soul. He will guard your going and coming from this time and forevermore. The 23rd Psalm, first in Hebrew, is the Shepherd's Psalm. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai Roi Lo Echsar, Yenot Deshet Yarbitzeni, Almei Minachat Yinchaleni, Nafshi Yishovev, Yenachi V'maglei Serek, Leman Shemo, Gam Ki Elech Begeit Salmavet, Lo Yirara, Ki Atah Imadei. Shiftecha Mishantecha, Hema Yanachamuni, Taroch Lefanai Shulchan, Neged Tzararai, Deshanta Vashemen Roshi, Kosi Rivaha, Ach Tov V'chesed Yirafuni, Kol Yimei Chayai, V'shavti B'veit Adonai, Yorech Yamim. Please recite it with me in English. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. We gather here in this place and time to remember a truly singular man, Jacob, Jack, Yankel, Ozer. You're all here, so I doubt that I have to tell you what a special person Jack was. He was charming, deeply caring and funny, connected to his past, present, and future, attentive, challenging, feeling. These are all adjectives that describe him. They make him memorable. I've known Jack for only about 46 years. I know that through the fact that my brother Richard and I married sisters, and that's how we're brothers by legality, but in our hearts we're truly brothers. And we know that one thing I could say was just that he was memorable. He left a mark, an indelible impression on everyone he would meet. He left a piece of himself and made him unforgettable to us, and especially to his sons and his daughters, Richard and Annette, Jan and Barbara, his grandchildren, David and Emily, Seth, Jessica, Stephen, and Katie, Watley, and Eleanor Rose. He was preceded here by his equally memorable wife, Margot, and he leaves also his partner, Lillian Hartstein, who's joining us by Zoom. He's also left 7 great-grandchildren. The Haggadah, which we're going to read starting Saturday night, mentions Bechol Dor V'Dor twice. In these stories, which we tell, Bechol Dor V'Dor, from generation to generation, there is solace. Jan, Richard, David, Seth, Stephen, and Jessica will now share their thoughts and stories. Jan?
Thank you all for coming. I'm officially the warm-up act for the professionals to follow. I've got 4 minutes to describe my feelings for the most important man in my life over the last way too close to 70 years, so I'll try and talk fast. Before jumping in, I want to express my gratitude to my brother and Annette and their great 3 sons and families. Like the saying goes, no one wants to be in a place like Shalom, but they sure made it the best possible place for Jack. You know, in Jack's shoes, nothing makes you feel better than seeing your son and your son's sons build families that are lively and growing and vital. And you hope. And your family was great. You know, the work you put in, the time you spent, made that a real joy for everybody who saw it, and of course for Jack as well. And it ensures that Jack's legacy will live on for a new generation. One more, as you said, one more generation will know Jack. A quick thanks to Cousin Jill, hopefully watching us via YouTube, not Zoom, sorry, I have to be clear on branding here, for her help and guidance in getting Jack to Shalom. I want to thank the Hartstein family for embracing Jack over the last 12 years. Lillian and her sons, their wives and families, they took Jack in like he was their Zadie. And their weddings, their get-togethers, their grandchildren, their events just made the last, before the last 15 months, the last 10 years before that, just an incredible joy. Not only for Jack, but for anybody, all of us who went down there. And the Seders in particular, with Passover coming up, the Seders I shared with the Hartsteins and with Jack leading were just amazing. Amazing events for me. And it's going to be sad this Passover to be without that, certainly without Jack. One of the lessons that Jack taught me, obviously not that to speak, we're all works in process, and we have to continually work to improve ourselves. I want to say, the speech says, as many of you will know, many of you won't know, but Barry and Larry and Rick will know that Jack was kind of an authoritarian father. He was very my way or the highway. He ruled the house, and that was really tough on me, who was pretty stubborn myself. When I was in my teens, Jack started therapy for some of the issues he went through and some of the issues he experienced, and that kind of formed our early childhood. And you know, years later, kind of inspired by Jack, and I saw some similar issues with me on the anger front, I sought some therapy as well. And one of the tasks that my therapist assigned me was to gather all the issues I had with Jack and have a conversation with him. And one time there was a family event, it was a wedding. So I had all my issues, and Jack and I were sitting after the Friday night event. And what was interesting was that I realized that the person I had all these issues with wasn't there anymore. He had transformed himself into somebody totally different, much sweeter, much more kind, and you know, all the person that you guys saw, and the person that he became later in life, unfortunately, after we left. You know, but I guess the point is that inspired me to be a better person, to continue to work on myself. And I know my two children, they have a list of issues that they want to go with me at some point in the future. But the work that Jack did, and he inspired me to do the work and to be as good a parent as I could be, and as good a parent, a good person as I could be. So that was the first lesson. Work on yourself, never stop. And Wally's a therapist now. If you want some help, you're welcome to, you know, she's charges by the hour, she can do remote. So, lesson 2, you're never too old to fall in love. Margot died in 2010, last time we were here, actually it wasn't the last time unfortunately, but we were all here for that. And then in 2013 or so, Jack moved in with Lillian, and they instantly became that couple. They danced, they laughed, they entertained, and they were so obviously in love that they brightened every room they went into. I published my last book in 2018, and the dedication was to Lillian and Jack, and it said, "Who taught us all that love isn't just for the young." Barbara couldn't make it here today, but I'm happy to report that after 37 years, we are still going strong. Inspired in part by Jack and Lillian, we are finding new things about each other to love and appreciate. And I'm happy to say that at 69, of my children out of the house and growing old, I'm finding new things to love and appreciate them as well. And that's a legacy of Jack for me. Number 3, be your children's biggest fans. Jack was always good for useful advice on business and life in general. Once I made up my mind and choose a direction, he was 100% behind me. My technology specialty was streaming video, and this is, you know, it seems pretty commonplace today, and it is, but back in 1993 and 1994, I remember showing Jack and Margot a video of me speaking on a computer, and it was a technological marvel at the time. And it was me on a little tiny screen speaking at an event. And showed it to Jack and Margot, and I showed it to Jack, and he said, "You know, I'm not sure what I'm seeing here, but you look really great. This is really wonderful." And I showed it to Margot, and she said, "Why aren't you wearing a tie?" And while Margot was undoubtedly trying to be helpful, I distinctly remember him being much more pleased with how my father was being helpful than how my mother was being helpful at the time. And as my kids will tell you, I've always tried to be their biggest fans. That's the one, a key lesson. You know, we discuss, we argue, we debate about what the course is, but once they choose it, once they choose it, you know, we're 100% behind. And that's a big lesson for Jack. Number 4, find joy in small things. Jack found delight in very small things. A flower in spring, notes from a Broadway musical, the sun on his face on a wintry day, bagels and lox on Sunday, one of my warmest memories from growing up. And more so later in life, he took time to appreciate the things that most of us striving for success and in the fast lane, we just forget to remember. So over the last few years, I've tried to build gratitude into each day. Gratitude for small things, the taste of coffee early in the morning, the feeling of breathing in a yoga class, the appreciation I have for my wife and children, and that's largely responsible to Jack as well. Just take the time to appreciate the small things. And the last thing is, kids today, they say you be you. Nobody ever had to tell Jack to be you. He never sang I'll do it my way like his brother, but Jack was always you, or he was always him. And what you saw is what you got, and his power and authenticity came from that, Jack being Jack. And in a world where I often struggle, the different roles that we play, who I need to be to accomplish this or that, it's always very grounding to hear in my mind, just you be you. My fondest memories growing up, family-related memories growing up, related to Hanukkah, where all 7 siblings and their kids, we gather in this big hall somewhere. Could have been Brooklyn, could have been Manhattan, and but everybody would bring their presents, and there'd be like 50 people there, and we'd share a meal, and then at the end of it, our Zadie would stand with a stash of bills, and everybody would form a big line, and we'd all get $1. So we'd walk up, all the cousins, all the brothers, and it was just, as a 4-year-old, it was like this really cool event, and it was really, every family has issues and every family has strife, but that was just the one time it seemed every year we all got together and we just had this huge, big time. And Jack he was the last man standing in that generation, and Judy's still here, and she's the last of that generation. And I'm really saddened by the passing of that era. It was a big thing. But at the same time, I'm hopeful and appreciative of the relationships I do have with people here in this room and people who are not here in this room, and of the new family relationships that are growing and forming, away from that splinter group. I mean, we'll never reproduce that, but there's so much joy and so much love in the family that exists today, and I'm very appreciative of that as well. Which leads me to my brother. So every dark cloud has a silver lining, and in truth, over the last 50 years, there have been 2 or 3 year stretches where I haven't spoken to my brother. Not anything mean, not any issues, just, life took us in different directions, different cities, and we didn't connect. Starting in December of 2023, when Jack, his health fell apart a bit and we had to make decisions, we've been talking every pretty frequently, couple times a week. And what was kind of fun was one time a couple weeks ago, just before I hung up, I said, "Love you," and he said, "Love you back." And it's probably the first time in 50 years, if ever, we said that. And you've just been really special over this time. And you set the course, you accepted the load, and you delivered every step of the way, you and your family. And you've been a real man. I just want to express my appreciation for that. So that's it. Now the pros can come up.
I'm so glad that I let Jan speak first, or suggested that Jan speak first, and that he took the opportunity, because I can think of no better testimony to my father than he presented right there.
Can I ask you to use the microphone?
I'm sorry. I can think of no better testimony, no better description of my father than Jan just delivered. And it makes me think, my father had he just did. I'm going to say that presented in better detail and better than I could ever do. But as Jan said, that I want to say that my father would have enjoyed seeing you all here today, and if he was in the back row, he'd be kibitzing right now. There's just no question about that. Jack is the last of Bubby and Zadie's children. He was the firstborn in the U.S. If I remember correctly, Bubby and Zadie left Russia with 3 or 4 children, had one along the way, and then when they got to Hamburg, Germany, for some reason, they were not allowed to board. The families were not allowed to board. So Zadie came to the United States, to Philadelphia specifically, and then he moved to New York. And he supported the family via Western Union for 6 years. In 1928, the children came, and then 9 months and a few days later, my father was born. And then a year and sometime later, Uncle Hi was born. The age difference between my father and Uncle Hi and the cousins was so close that I feel that they were more like big brothers than they were uncles. You know, and then I heard just from Larry today, and Larry today that he lived at Bubby and Zadie's house for several years, and they had a chance to play together. I had no idea. For us, it was, across the hall. It was Barry and Herb and Seymour, and I look back to memories of what a family we had. My bigger brothers, my cousins, taught me to tie my shoes, or taught me how to wrestle or catch, or make me interested in an instrument or whatever. But we were so mixed all the time that we, I was in first grade. I remember I walked down the hall, walked down Nelson Avenue to where I was in first grade, and one Aunt Fanny with her daughter Marilyn would be out looking out the window as I would walk by, and then Aunt Diana was further down the street, and they were waiting for me to make sure I made it to school. But here I was, a kid of 5 or 6 years old, walking in the Bronx. I remember exactly what you say about the Sunday morning breakfasts. I remember omelets, and I remember us being able to walk across the street, at 4 or 5 years old, and pick up bagels. There's nothing better in the world than to pick up a bunch of hot bagels and bring it back, 4 bagels and rocks. So Dad would he'd make omelets. He taught me how to flip the eggs. He was a child of the Depression. He was born in 29. And so October of that year, of course, we had the great drop, and the Depression started. And, basically, you take a look. He had every reason in the world to complain, but he chose not to. In fact, and I'm stealing this, I'm going to quote where I got this, Matt, is that the most succinct description of my father, and then after he left the house, was that he never complained. He was always there to help, always there to support. And I kind of view that as a choice, and it made it possible for him to see the best in everybody. And because he saw the best in everybody, it was worthwhile to spend time talking with that person, making you feel that he was there for you. And for that brief moment in time, you were the center of his universe, and it was the best moment or two that he could possibly have. I will tell you that my father was also a champion of lost causes, like me and Borscht. He was a firm believer. This is one of my memories from the Bronx. That he was a firm believer that if we ate it often enough, that I'd like it someday. Well, for the record, I still ate Borscht. All right. Banana. You remember banana and halva sandwiches? The funny thing is, I thought, what in the world? But he mentioned it to Uncle Hi, and I said, "This is the best. Your dad treated you great, but we'd carry it to school and throw it out on the way." Jack was lucky and loved twice, and Jan said it so eloquently. I won't say it again, other than the fact that Lillian made his life a joy for the last 10 years that they had together. And the families did exactly that. They became so intertwined that, again, our family just grew. They could not have been more warm, and their days were becoming full of family, friends, simchas, and joy. And they became each one special someone. And I'm so glad that Jan has found that. I know that I have. Moving Jack to Minnesota was a tough decision. And I frankly told my father that I was being very, very selfish, wanting his great-grandchildren to know him the same way their father did. And you saw pictures ad nauseum, I'm sure. We did Shabbos dinners together weekly. We had Pesach, the first Pesach in years. They went to swim meets, to concerts. They saw him. He saw people weekly. And we did it all, and in April of last year, HZ, Hoichazedi, they called him, looked me in the eye, and said, my great-grandchildren know me too. And so that was mission accomplished right there. Jack took such nachas from his great-grandchildren. They were the light of his life, and he enjoyed the ruckus that they raised. I mean, basically, the more they ran around, the more he smiled. The more energy they put, they'd come by, and every once in a while, they, hey, HC, how you doing? Or they'd give him a hug and a big smile, and then Zipporah would give him a big hug, look him in the eye, and he just felt, he just absolutely felt. There was such a smile, and every day he would do that to his aides and to his nurses. He'd watch basketball with Jared, his aide, and who basically said, oh, the Wolves are playing, and he'd get him, put him into the TV room, pick up his chair so he could sit there for a while, and he couldn't watch but 15, 20 minutes of the game, but damn it, he watched it. Damn it, and he watched it all the way through the season. The nurses loved him, the aides all loved him. He watched basketball, he watched musicals, and he would sing along with the musicals, and I gotta tell you, he still had the worst voice ever, but he would sing it full throat, and he didn't care, and what was the amazing thing is that Shalom Home staff loved him for it, because he's happy, and the joy that he put out was infectious. They just grabbed it, and they fed on it. So when the very, very first time, I mean, I got a call, and so basically, he's not doing well, and I went in. They were crying. I knew at that point that it truly was bad. You know, 1 month before, we have a picture of Jack, fully alert, smiling, and he's surrounded by his grandkids and Annette. He had such a smile. As Jan pointed out rightly, our father was not perfect, not by a long shot, but he worked at himself. He worked to improve himself and to make himself a joy to everyone. And when you look at the sum total of his life, you see a man who loved his family, people, and as a result was loved back to the fullest. May his memory be a blessing.
Zadie will live in infamy and within all of us. My father just reminded me that no matter the occasion, kids will be kids and they will be playing and they'll be having fun, and he won't stop it, ever. Because why, do you ask? Well, first, why is a crooked letter? Modus first. And then you'd follow it up with, hey, that's not fair. And you'd say, well, A is for horses. So he will live in all of us because he showed us day in and day out that we're better because of his endearing qualities. There wasn't a second that would go by where he wasn't seeing something good in people or finding something positive in life. Even amidst all the challenges, he always found a way through it all. And even when he was being critical, people still loved him and understood where he was coming from because they knew he had positive intent. I have endless memories of last-minute trips to New York filled with Broadway shows, delis, and just endless laughter. Surprises, at least for us, amusement park visits, water rockets in the front yard, sneaking raspberries behind the bushes when no one was looking, kites in the park, and even when there were snafus like getting Play-Doh stuck in the carpet. Hopefully you remember that one. He followed it up with, it's okay, accidents happen. There's so many memories, and I can only hope that our children have the same memories to have for us as well. Zadie was loved by all, even to the end. He was still making everyone feel amazing, loved, wanted, and beautiful. Singing, good morning, always having a tune, always whistling, or finding other ways to bring joy to everyone around him. And even all the way up through connecting with his great-grandchildren, laughing, playing, and even wrestling with him on the bed just only 4 years ago. Zadie was loved by all. Because of Zadie, we are kinder, we are curious, we have well-rounded perspectives. We will continue his legacy. We are who we are because he helped shape us. May we all have an infectious tune stuck in our head, continuously find the good in people, and challenge the status quo. We all have fond memories that cannot be replaced. Zadie was welcomed by other legacies, and we know he's in good company. But he will always be in our thoughts and our prayers. We love him. We love you, Zadie.
I've never felt older coming up here using my paper when everyone else had iPads and iPhones out, as I frantically typed this morning. As I was trying to figure out what to say about Zadie today, many emotions came out. Of those emotions, the one that came out every thought and every memory was joy. I couldn't help but think about a story of Zadie without ending that story with a little laughter, or at least at a minimum, a smile. He had a way of bringing joy and cheer into this world. I can't help but think about Nana and Zadie watching us now, sitting in Zadie's green room, eating fresh-picked raspberries from the yard, multiple types of cheeses, Zadie eating herring, and picking a smoked whitefish completely clean. A gin and tonic for Nana, a bourbon for Zadie, looking at all of us, smiling, and asking, how did they get to be so lucky? There are so many memories that come to mind. From him coming downstairs to yell at me and my brothers about playing bumper pool in the middle of the night. Well, for us, Zadie yelling was threatening that Nana would come down if we didn't knock it off. To him putting me on a boat in Florida to go fishing so that I could then cook him that fresh catch. To watching musicals on the small TV in the bedroom at night, or him telling us not to eat all the pickles at Richard's Deli because it would ruin our meal. All while whistling or singing songs from those said musicals. One of my favorite quintessential stories about Zadie took place on my wedding weekend. Nana had passed away earlier that year, and when Zadie was done with Shloshim, he kept his goatee. He was in the elevator at the hotel in Minneapolis, coming down to join us for the groom's dinner, when a bachelorette party walked into the elevator. A young 20-something put her hand on his chest and said that she loves older gentlemen. With a smile, he put his hands on her shoulder and said, "I wouldn't know what to do with you, but if your grandmother is single, give her my number." He loved his family, was truly interested in what was going on with everyone. Whether on the phone or in person, he would always first ask me how Jessica, the girls, my mother-in-law were doing. Then once we spoke about all of them, and before we discussed what was happening with me, he always asked me how business was and made sure that I was paying into Social Security. We were fortunate enough to have Zadie come live in Minnesota for a little over a year now. Yeah, I'm profoundly grateful that I got to spend that time with him, and he got to spend that time with his great-grandchildren, but especially the fact that his great-granddaughters got to spend that time knowing him. In Judaism, when someone passes away, we say, "May their memory be a blessing." I always thought that was a nice thing to say, but over the past few days, I really started to appreciate its true meaning. Love you, Zadie.
Gosh, I cry at Titanic all the time, so I dehydrated myself just to avoid that today, but it doesn't seem to be working. And I have an iPhone, and I was really jealous of the elder speakers, sorry for that language, and having their iPads, because I really wish I would have transitioned to that. And I'm the youngest of the brothers, too. But celebrating Zadie is something hard to sum up in this short amount of time. But all this family showing up is really a testament to the love, joy, and charisma that we all enjoyed from him. And gosh, definitely missed all that singing, and I think we'll all miss that singing today. Now, as I stand up here today, I keep hearing my phone ringing. Middle of the day, about twice a day, for the last few years, getting a call from Zadie. He always came with two questions. How are the boys and how is Katie? Although this call really only took 2 minutes, he always reminded me, like Seth brought up and David brought up, that boys will be boys and I can't control them even though I yell every time. And that I outpunted my coverage with Katie. I bring these calls up because it makes me think of two things that Zadie did really well. And I'm really going to take ownership of these two things. So first, I don't know if I should credit my parents or if this was my own stupidity, but I watched Jaws at a really young age. And it really made me deathly afraid of the ocean. But I do remember growing up that Zadie always let me climb on his back or held me just so I could go a little bit deeper, even though I was scared. But it really helped bring that confidence. And then I saw it come through my dad. And now, since we live in North Carolina, we go to the beach all the time. And no matter how scared I am, or no matter how many short books my kids make me read, I always go a little bit deeper, and I always let them climb on my back. And I really hope like that confidence that he taught me was something that I'll continue to personify and will come down through my kids. And second, and maybe I'll ask the family this first, so we'll make this interactive so everyone else can say a few words since there's only a few of us. But real quickly, can you guys just name something that you really admired from Zadie?
Nice.
His
Any actions?
His compliments.
Yeah.
He's always complimenting.
Never afraid to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
You can take things with a grain of salt.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Everyone loved him. Maybe ask them to be quiet sometimes, right? But for me, Zadie gave the best hugs. I really do have vivid memories growing up and receiving these tight hugs that just made you feel real good and safe. And I like to think that as much as my kids annoy me, and I love them to death after saying that out loud, I give them real good hugs, and I'm going to keep practicing and make sure that's a trait that they feel comfortable with. And before I wrap up, I had a little bit of a vision this morning as we were going through some of the pictures of Zadie, and I pictured a couch. I pictured a couch in the back with the Ozer men sitting on it. What do you guys all think they were doing?
Drinking bourbon.
I wish.
Playing pinochle.
Well, funny enough, like I literally saw them sleeping with their hands on their laps, and it's either the hands on their laps or they're holding one of our grandkids. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that's one of those things that's really paid dividends when Katie's asked me to put the kids to bed. So I really appreciate that from Zadie and my father. And well, I just want to end with I'll think about you every time I see Eve and Jacob. I love you, Zadie.
There are many kinds of family. The family you are born into, the family you marry into, and the family you choose. On any account, those who counted Jack as family were extremely lucky. I was blessed to call him Zadie for nearly 20 years, which, having lost both my grandfathers by age 9, I did not take for granted. To know him was to love him, because he brought such positive energy to the world, and he made people, especially the ladies, feel good about themselves. Always positive, always encouraging, always complimentary. When asked to share what made her happy when thinking about HC, his great-granddaughter Ayla shared how he was always singing, even if he wasn't good at it. I can hear him now singing, "Oh, what a beautiful morning, oh, what a beautiful day," or, "Hey, good looking, what you got cooking?" And she wanted to make sure it was shared what a kind man he was. The line that rings in my head that I heard him say so often was, "Whatever makes you happy." I always thought that it was amazing that someone born during the Great Depression, when life was so hard, could have that outlook on life. I asked him once about what he thought made him such a positive person, and he didn't have an answer for me. I guess it's just who he was. I mentioned his flattery for the ladies. His flirtatiousness was known to the point where, in recent years, that was how we determined how he was doing. Was he flirting with the nurses? The staff? If so, he was okay. This is not to undermine his deep love and appreciation for the most important women in his life, though. It was clear through his stories and the way he spoke over time how much he loved, cherished, and appreciated his wife Margot, Nana to us, his partner Lillian, and his mom. These important women in his life helped make him the family man he was, and nothing brought him greater joy than being around his family, as we were privileged to hear him say each week during Shabbat dinner this last year and a half. Time together was often spent sharing fun memories and stories. These stories changed over the time I knew Zadie, from stories of adventures while his grandkids were growing up, to stories of walking down the aisle at our wedding, to the first time he held his great-granddaughter Zoe in his arms. He loved to tell the story of how he was terrified to hold a baby, and how, according to him, I threw 6-week-old Zoe into his arms during Stephen and Katie's wedding weekend. After that first embrace of his great-granddaughter, he never faltered as HC to his great-grandkids. From babysitting Zoe while Seth and I attended a friend's wedding in Florida, to special excursions for which Zoe signed a contract with Lillian to take responsibility for him while we were away, where we explored the Keys or chased down peacocks, Zadie zipping after them on an electric scooter, trying to get them to spread their tail feathers, to playing Uno with Zoe and Ayla at Sholem home, and just enjoying the noise of being 4 generations together on Shabbat. He cherished it all. He loved his family so much, and he wasn't afraid to say so. I could continue to talk for a long time about what made Zadie Zadie and what made him special. His green thumb, his love of sunshine and nature, his enjoyment of musicals, his engagement with politics, his participation in Jewish life, his love of basketball, especially the Knicks, football being too violent for him, his sense of humor and ability to schmooze. But I hope that each of us walks away from today feeling the strength of our own personal connection to him, and that we hold on to the way he saw us and how he shared that with us, that we are beautiful, smart, generous, kind, and strong, and that we carry his light and positive energy forward. For someone who was born in 1929, Zadie's emoji use was epic. I know he'd be sending us all whiskey glasses and love hearts today. Love you, Zadie.
Beautiful testimonies. Please rise for the memorial prayer on the Lerachim. El Malei Rachamim Shochein Bamromim Hametzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina B'ma'alot Kedoshim U'Taharim Kezohar HaRakia Mazhirim Et Nishmat Yaakov Moshe Yisrael Ben Shepsa V'Shifra שהלך לעלמו בגן עדן תמנוחתו. אנא בעל הרחמים הסתירהו בסתר כנפיך לעולמים. וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו, אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום. Al mishkavo v'nomar Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, the soul of Yaakov Moshe Yisrael ben Shepsa v'Shifra, Jack Ozer, who has gone to his eternal home. Master of mercy, we beseech you, remember all the worthy and the righteous deeds that he performed in the land of the living. May his soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. The Lord is his portion. May he rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. The pallbearers, the grandchildren, and Brett Markstein, please come forward.
try and keep this alive. No reason not to, but for the complete experience.
All right, I'm gonna end it.
You're gonna end it?
Should we?
There's the grave service. I mean, I don't want. What do you think?
I think we can ask the live stream.
Pardon?
You guys.
You think what?
Do you want to ask the live stream what they want to do?
I'll start climbing. Is there, how many people are watching? Can you see?
10. I thought there was a comments, but I guess there's no way to comment.
Yeah, there's one. Yeah.
Maybe there's a way to comment?
There should be comments on that. I don't know. Why don't we just play it?
Okay.
Can yeah.
Some people might get a little car sick.
I know, it's like, I gotta drive the car.
Okay, well, I'm gonna follow you
You're
because
driving it? Darn.
You just mute the mic. I'm not making anyone motion sick.
Got a stabilizer.
Yeah. Yes.
You can step around and come closer.
Elamuna v'yein avil, tzadik v'yashar hu, hatzor tamid b'chol po'al, mi yomar lo ma tefal, hashalit b'mateh u'ma'al, me'imit m'chayeh, morid shohu bayal. In your hand is the destiny of all souls, that will not forget us. Thy mercy will surely abide with us. Blessed are you, Judge of truth, who dost ordain death and summon us to life. Dayan Emet, Shofet Tzedek v'Emet, Baruch Dayan HaEmet, Shekol Mishpatav Tzedek v'Emet, Nefesh Kol Chai B'Yodecha, Tzedek Malam Emincha, Rachem Al Petzot Sod Yadecha, V'Tomar L'Malach, Heref Yadecha. Adonai Natan, Adonai Lataf, Yehi Shem Adonai V'Orach, V'hu Rachum Yechaper Bo V'lo Yashit, V'Yirba L'Yashiv V'Chol V'lo Yair, Kol Hamatov. Lord God, what has been given has been taken. We turn to you so that you will turn us towards each other. Vayashov ve'afar al ha'aretz k'shehayah. The dust returns to the earth as it was. V'haruach tashuv el ha'elohim asher natana. But the spirit returns unto God who gave it. May the soul of Jack Ozer be bound in the bond of eternal life. Send comfort, O Lord, to those who mourn. Grant strength to those who burden us in whose burden is sorrow. O merciful Father, our refuge and Redeemer, let us say, Amen. At this point, we're going to say the mourner's Kaddish.
Peace. Biyama Dirahu say Biyamlichmachu say B'chayechan B'yumechan B'chayei B'chol B'is Yisrael Agal B'al B'zman Kori B'yimru Amen Yehi Shnei Rabba V'Orak Le'olam L'mayom Svarak B'yis Shabbat B'yis Barar B'yis Ramam B'yis Naseh B'yis Adar B'yis Lev B'yis Elal Shemei Kudusha B'rechu Call verse Tishbachasa Benefamachla Damiran Be'omra Amen. Yehi Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya B'chaim Olenu Be'akol Yisrael Zimru Aseh Shalom B'mamav Hu Yaseh Shalom Olenu Be'akol Yisrael Zimru Amen.
Thank you. We've just completed the mitzvah, the commandment of accompanying our loved one to the burial site. The next commandment we do is to actually perform the burial. We're going to help Jack's two sons, Jan and Richard, perform the obligation of burying, just as Isaac and Ishmael came together to bury their father Abraham. This has been done for thousands of years. We do this, reluctantly we do this, in the following way. We can all take time and do the honor. I'm just going to demonstrate. we start by taking a shovel and we put it in the ground upside down. Take a little bit of dirt and put it on. So, we do it upside down to show that we're reluctant to do this, but we're here doing what we need to do. And then we take an upside right shovel and continue to fill the grave. And if we don't hand the shovel to the next person, put the shovel back in the ground, again to show our reluctance to the deed, and then we step forward and take our turn. Anybody who's not well, don't strain yourself, don't hurt yourself. We have plenty of people to get this taken care of.
All that dirt in there? Again. Yeah, I do.
Sean.
Katie, did they want to do it again too? You can go around the back.
No, buddy, you don't need to.
Levi.
Guess we're doing the whole thing. So
The whole thing.
go ahead, let me get some.
We should probably end this, right?
Pardon? Yeah.
Should I end it?
There's 3 people watching. So can you grab it?
Yeah.
Wait until pushing this.
Nice.
the last thing that you can do for the person that's dead. So that's why it's not a requirement, but basically it's something freely given is to fill the grave.
No, it's a beautiful tradition too.
We were here not too long ago. Mother was there. Did we do the same thing? 10,
I
15
don't
years
remember.
ago?
I don't remember. I'll tell you, my mother was a mystery. I did not know her name was Zeitel. It's Zeitel Malka. And so basically she was always Margot. And then they found out when they got I made a stop to her in the kindergarten. They told they had a name. Zeitel, who the hell is that? It's your mother. Pay attention, son.
Title?
Zeitel.
Title.
And it's a Yiddish word. I don't know where it comes from.
Oh,
Zeit
interesting.
is time. Zeit is time. But Zeitel, I don't understand where the name came from. There's got to be a meaning. But, I found a letter she'd written to somebody that said, Zeitel, spelled a bit hard, in other words. Understood, you have to go ahead. Basically come over and I thought
Make up some stories.
well, certainly always put some pressure on him. Our mother was, I don't know what the word is when you say twice. To say our mother was a strict disciplinarian would be absolutely accurate. But, knowing her mother,
Stay right here.
So real. Ish, yeah. We went to camp together. And high school, technically.
You were the good ones.
She's a accountant. No, college. He went to FSU. She did too. But they were there. Maybe it's his college. I don't know.
I know.